Hi everyone, I'm Jess from Leonda by the Yarra, and today I'm going to be talking about something that's slightly controversial, but unfortunately it's something a lot of people are facing at the moment. We're going to be talking about how to cut your guest numbers. Now, this is not something that people really want to be doing at the moment, or in fact ever. If you've always dreamed of a big wedding, slimming down that guest list is a really big deal. But there is a right way and a wrong way to do it, and we've got all the tips and tricks to help you if this is something you have to do. So, first things first. Mum and dad. Especially if they're paying, they've probably added a whole bunch of people to your list. Am I right? Whether it's your second cousins, your neighbours from when you were 4, your parents' colleagues. Look, we get it. It's their prerogative. They're allowed to add people to that guest list. But you're also allowed to tell them that you're kind of having to make some changes and you need their help. That's not an unreasonable request. Just do it kindly and respectfully and explain to them the situation that you're in. They're your parents at the end of the day. They'll understand. Maybe give them a set number that they're allowed to invite, and that way it's a bit of a compromise. They still get to invite people, but you still get to control the numbers. The second tip is actually really practical. So what you do is you write down all of your guests on little index cards or bits of paper, and then you're going to sort them. So you need 3 boxes. Into the first box is going your close family. Basically the non-negotiables, people who have to be there. Bridal party, parents, siblings, that sort of thing. The second box is your close friends. These are the friends that you know are still going to be around in 10, 20, however many years. You can absolutely see them being a part of the future that you're going to build with your partner. That's box 2. Box 3 is everybody else. And I mean everybody else. Colleagues, cousins, friends who you are friends with, but maybe they're a new friend, or maybe you've kind of gone in and out of friendship over the years. That's box 3. Once you've sorted them all, what you'll realize is actually there's quite a lot of people in box 3, and that's the place where you should be cutting. It just makes it really simple, really easy, particularly if you don't know where to start. So we recommend doing that. This is controversial, but plus ones. Do they really need it? We understand that you want your guests to be happy, and sometimes that means letting them bring a date. And that's totally fine for people who have maybe been with their partner for years and years, or maybe they're really not going to know anyone else at the wedding, but they are still essential to you. That's absolutely fine. But cousin Jill's boyfriend that she's been with for 2 months and you've never even met, it's all right to be like, sorry, Jill, you'll just have to hang out with your mum. Okay, kids. I love kids. Kids are great fun, and it's awesome to have them to be a part of celebrations, but they don't necessarily have to be a part of all of it. You can just invite them to the ceremony and then ask that the reception be adults only. Or you could have a rule that it's only over 18s or over 16s. I personally have been to weddings where all of those options have happened in the past, and there hasn't been a problem. It seems like a really big deal when you're writing the list and you're discussing who to invite, but honestly, the parents will probably be happy to have a night off. So don't worry too much about kids. It can be a good place to start if you need to slim down. Okay, extended family, all your relatives, cousins, second cousins, third cousins, twice removed. At the end of the day, it's your wedding. You shouldn't feel obligated to invite anybody. Your wedding is a celebration for you and your partner and the people who are going to be a permanent and consistent part of your life moving forward. It's not a family reunion. That can feel a little weird and it can feel a little harsh, but it's true. And really, people shouldn't be offended if they don't see you except for maybe every second Christmas at, great Aunt Margaret's. It's totally okay for them not to come to your wedding. Okay, this one's a bit tricky. Work colleagues. Just because you share a cubicle with somebody at work, or maybe you eat lunch with them on a Friday, it doesn't mean that they get to make your guest list. If they're a really close friend and you do hang out with them outside of work and you confide in them, or maybe you've been at your workplace for years and years and years and they've really become a part of your life, different story. But if you're just inviting your team members because you feel like well, they're your team members and you see them 5 days a week, it's actually okay to say no to an invite, especially if you are trying to keep your wedding on the smaller side. Maybe instead you could plan a happy hour to celebrate, obviously, once lockdown is over. What happens if you've already sent out your save the dates and now you're looking to have to uninvite people? Well, etiquette kind of states that you shouldn't do that, but at the moment in a pandemic, etiquette is all but out the window, right? So here's how to do it if you have to. Firstly, make the communication personal. Think of it like a breakup, kind of. You know, you wouldn't break up with somebody over text, so don't do it if you have to uninvite them to their, if you have to uninvite someone to your wedding, don't do it by text. Make the communication personal. You should try and do it face to face, although obviously at the moment that's tricky. But at the very least, they deserve a phone call. Secondly, don't put it off. Don't put off the conversation. They might be saving up for a gift for you, or they might be looking at buying that gift, or even looking at accommodation options. So the sooner you let them know that actually they won't be coming to the wedding after all, the more they will respect you for it, because you're going to save them money and a whole lot of hassle. An easy way to uninvite people and also cut people from your guest list is actually consider making the wedding more exclusive. So what I mean by that is it can be kind of hurtful to uninvite one single person, but uninviting a group of people could make it easier. So all of the tips I listed before, you know, maybe it's you simply go out to people and say, actually, we've decided not to have kids at the wedding. And that's like, you just cut all the kids at once. It's easy. It's less painful. Or maybe you decide you're no longer having cousins, or you're no longer having colleagues. Whatever it is, if it's a group, it feels less personal and therefore less offensive if you're on the receiving end. And then finally, depending on how many people you have to uninvite, remember that you can always promise to catch up with them at a different time or a different celebration. Maybe it's drinks after the wedding, you know, in the weeks following, or maybe, you know, maybe you actually just invite them to the ceremony, so they're still able to be a part of your day, but they're not at the reception itself. That can kind of soften the blow and make it an easier pill to swallow, so to speak. So there you have it. A few tips and tricks if you do have to have that difficult conversation with your partner, with your friends, and you're having to cut down your guest list. It doesn't have to be the end of the world, and we've got you covered through this. Stay safe, stay healthy, everybody, and happy wedding planning.